Well, hi again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live. This is the Tuesday edition with the icon, Mike Smith, and I'm Dan Ramey, the nobody.
Why does it seem like anymore that whatever...
There's your wife.
No, it can't be. She wouldn't be on that phone. That's a scam caller. Just ignore it.
Okay.
Why does it seem like that whatever day it is, it seems like it's a day later? Is that something to do with old age or something?
I think that is part of it right there, I believe.
It just seems like it's today's Tuesday, but it seems like it's actually Wednesday.
Hang in there. That scammer will call back.
My wife even says that. This seems like it's been this all day. So I think it is an old age thing.
It is. And, it seems like every day seems to go faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
What happened to those days where we had nothing to worry about? We were 20-some years old and just motoring through life, just happy-go-lucky. And then we have kids.
Well, I've also noticed this. This is a philosophy show today. I've also noticed this. When things are going badly, those times drag by.
Oh, it's like you're in the valley and you can't get out.
So maybe we're just having so much fun, it seems like it's the end of the week already.
It very well could be.
Don't they say time goes fly fast when you're having fun?
We're still reeling from springing forward and losing that hour.
That could be, too.
So time did get shorter in that respect. All right. Hi. This isn't what we came on to talk about today. But,
you've had your philosophy lesson for the day.
Coming up in a moment, we've got news topics of the day, also sports. We'll take a look at this date in history, and we haven't even planned anything for what our radio bit's going to be. So,
kind of like that opening you just saw.
Precisely, and this was the second start on the show. I had already started it, and Mike started talking and everything. I said, "Wait, we gotta." Can I push the go button now?
Now the scammer just walked in the door downstairs.
Hey, you didn't answer my call.
I heard the door shut. It was Jim. He's firing me. Oh, golly.
Oh, you know what? I just realized I didn't do anything for the weather today. So what do we have?
Mostly cloudy today, although we started out with a little peak of sunshine. I think we're only looking at 52 for a high today. Yeah. Temps will drop down to about 31 tonight, which means you might have a little frost on your windshield in the morning if you don't park it in the garage. Partly sunny, 54 for tomorrow, sunny and 56 on Thursday. Rain comes back into the picture for us on Friday, and I think it will be back up in the 60s for Friday.
We were having this conversation, and leading up, we felt like the show was all prepared. And when I sat down here, remember I told you it felt odd because I had the scroller already done. I thought I had this feeling that maybe I didn't spell something right or whatever. And what I forgot was to do the weather forecast. So we didn't have the radar for you, but if you go to littermedia.com, click on weather, you'll see that weather radar. You can toy around with it and take a look and see where the weather's coming, where it's going, and where the wind is blowing and everything as well. It's all right there on our website, littermedia.com. You'll also see this on our website, Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. When you see this ad, click on it. It will take you right to the Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing website to find out more about their services, their service territories, and more. They're more than just Chillicothe. They expand as far north as Columbus, down to the river, all the way over to Fayette County and Dayton, and then also back over to the east as well. So get more details by clicking on this ad at littermedia.com. Coming up, a look at news for today. Next.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652. What's so funny?
I was just thinking of what I was going to say on my lead story today.
Okay. It is time for news, and let's start with some visitors.
Yeah, it's not very often that what Dan and I had for lunch is the top of the top of the news. It wasn't what we had for lunch. It's who we met at lunch yesterday. We were at a local establishment, and we were seeing a bunch of fellows and some ladies that had a particular hat on.
And he said, "What did that say?" And I said, "Brown Hurley," and was like, "What is that?" And I said, "I don't know. Is it a ball club? Is it something like that?"
So I go over to get a soda, and I said, "Okay, guys, you've intrigued me. What is Brown Hurley?" And when the fellow starts talking, I think I'm talking to Crocodile Dundee. He's obviously from Australia. And he tells us that his group had been flown over here to tour the Kenworth Truck Plant because Kenworth Truck is one of the leading models that you'll see on the roads in Australia. And that's, as you saw that picture, Brown Hurley.
Did you see their tour bus?
I did.
It was parked in the back of the parking lot. We had joked about, maybe they all just pulled in and charging their cars there at the Tesla charging plant. That was not the case, but I noticed on one of the jackets it said USA Tour.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, apparently they're not from around here.
Yeah.
And they agreed.
I suppose you could probably say the same thing over the years about the paper mill or any other industry here, but it just was striking me as I was talking to these guys that every time you drive by that Kenworth plant out there, you don't think that the things that they're making in there is not only being used in our country, but it's clear on the other side of the globe.
I recall when we were in in Hawaii back in 1993, our bus tour had stopped so we could go have lunch at this restaurant. And as I'm walking off the bus, there's this dump truck sitting right there, and it says Kenworth, Chillicothe, Ohio on it. And I thought,
oh, God,
I'm 5,000 miles away from home, but I'm still seeing something from home.
Home follows you. Yeah.
So just the importance that Kenworth is for our community. They've got the truck parade scheduled for June, and they will have their 100th anniversary being celebrated this year. So our tip of the cap to our friends at Kenworth and their association with Brown Hurley.
Yeah, and we made sure we welcomed them to Chillicothe.
But Mike did not offer to buy their meal.
Yeah. Well, after I
already paid.
Dan was standing about 30 feet from him when the fellow started. I waved to Dan, "Come over here. You got to listen."
Tell him what you're doing here.
Yeah, but we had a lot of fun. Welcome to Chillicothe if you folks are still in town from Brown and Hurley. Cats and Company and the Ross County Humane Society have announced the launch of the Chillicothe Cat Project. Now, this will be managed by the Ross County Humane Society. It is a trap, neuter, and release program with the goal of cutting down on the number of stray and roaming cats in the city of Chillicothe. In fact, this has been being discussed at the city council meetings recently. The project aims to sterilize 500-plus roaming and feral cats in the upcoming year. Ross County American Legion Post 62, the SAL Sqdrn 62, and Post 757 have selected several representatives to the 2023 Buckeye Boys State at Miami University, Oxford. And here are some of these fellows that you're seeing. A number of them are from Zane Trace. There's some from Unioto, also Huntington. Now, somebody from 62, Post 62, added to what we shared on our Facebook page last night that there were still two high school to-be seniors next year that had not turned in their information. So there's some other fellows that may be added, and when that happens, we've asked them to share that information. But each one of the posts sponsor these young men to go. You were at Buckeye Boys State. I was at Buckeye Boys State. My wife went to Buckeye Girls State. So if there are any other Legion posts or any service clubs around the area that sponsor to-be seniors to go to Buckeye Boys or Girls State, let us know, and we'll put that information on. Saturday, April 1st, that's this Saturday, the Jackson Fire Department will be doing some hands-on training at 126 North High Street, and that begins at 9 a.m. So High Street in Jackson will be closed between Oak Street and State Street for the duration of that training. Signs will be posted, and they do say, "We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. But for those who were traveling through Jackson this Saturday morning, just beware of that. Live music Saturday, April 15th from 6 p.m. to midnight at the Vinton County Spring Fling Campout. Now, this is associated with 4-H, Junior Fair at Vinton Counties, and this event, of course, is at the Vinton County Fairgrounds, and you can see the entertainment that'll be taking. I've heard of the Sodbusters. Not heard them, but I've heard of them. Mm-hmm. The other fellows, I don't know much about their performance.
You ever been to Sodbuster?
Yes, well, yeah. Out on my uncle's farm, yeah. Uh-huh. Work has begun as of March 1st on a bridge replacement project on State Route 138 between Austin Road and Mallow Road. During that construction, traffic will be maintained. You just had a recent piece on our YouTube site about that.
Yeah, if you want to see snow.
I don't.
The day that we were out there, it was snowing. So you can see the construction video available now on our YouTube channel. And thank you to the folks at ODOT making that happen.
So during construction season, which we're in the middle of it, on our daily program, we'll probably give you a different area, different county each day, just to let you know what's going on. Plus, you can go to our website at littermedia.com. Under the nav bar, look for road reports, and it'll show you everything from surrounding counties that's currently updated as far as any construction or repair work being conducted by ODOT.
Back to Buckeye Boys State. What year were you there?
Well, that would have been the summer of 77 because my graduation year was 78.
Bowling Green?
No, it was at Ohio University, Athens.
Okay. Mine was 1979, Bowling Green State University. And do you remember your city?
I do not. Now, my wife, who was at Buckeye Girl State, she was at Bowling Green.
Was she?
That same summer. But, yeah, I was a city councilman or something of whatever city we
I was
were.
a state patrolman. And I also took the bar exam, passed the bar exam, so I was a lawyer. And I also got my helicopter license. So the weird thing was if you had a helicopter license, you had to walk around like this, indicating that you were
That's why you're always
flying.
doing that. You think you're flying still, yeah.
But at Boys State, you learn basically how to run a state, how to run, you lay out a city and that sort of thing. My city was Eaton, which we had some really cool cheers we'll not get into. But as you went from place to place for whatever your job might be, and there were roads taped down in the sidewalk area, and you had to follow the laws just like you're driving.
Yeah.
Well, I saw someone cutting through without showing that, and so I went up with my helicopter and pulled him over, and we had a ticket situation. There was a hot pursuit as well. I had to track him down, but I was a lot faster then than I am now.
What number were you?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know this really well. This was an easy one to remember.
I think it was like 128, maybe 129.
Yeah. I was number one.
Oh, really? Look at you.
And that's based on...
No surprise whatsoever.
That was based on, not your character, that was based on when your Legion post that sponsored you submitted your name.
Is that right?
And I was the first. So being number one, on the opening ceremonies, I got to go up on the podium in the convo, and I was holding the American flag, and I also got to meet Governor Jim Rhodes.
How about that?
Shake his hand. Of course, later I had that opportunity professionally, but... so that was good. Was Governor Rhodes in when you were there too?
In fact, I was in the Buckeye Boys State Band as well, so got to play, and that was the largest trombone section I was ever a part of. It was at Buckeye Boys State, and there were some talented guys, and man, I remember being number one chair, feeling as though I was top dog, and so on. So I was brought back down to size at Buckeye Boys State when I was in that line of trombones. Those other guys, I thought maybe music isn't the thing for me.
Yeah. But that was a fun experience. You meet guys from all over the state. And
were you a part of the Federalists or the Nationalists?
That part I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember. I just know we had a library. And some of the books or materials in the library that the guys donated probably wouldn't be in your typical library.
I was a nationalist member because I had the blue badge. Then you had the Federalists were the red badge. And we were meeting on the square there at, trying to remember what they named the square, but no air conditioning in our unit where we stayed. And Dan Irvin and Doug Moss were also part of my crew from Taze Valley, and they were in the air-conditioned dorms. And I'm like, man, you guys are lucky.
Yeah.
Because that's the longest I'd ever spent away from home as a kid.
Wow.
9 days. But it's a very good project to get involved in. So, and thank you to the many Legionnaires who have worked so deliberately to help us learn about how governments are run. So it's really cool. All right, coming up, we've got sports in just a moment. We'll also take a look at this date in history. What year are we going to?
1834.
1834. Mike Smith remembers that because
I was just a wee lad.
Because the date starts with number 1, which is Mike's number. Pickaway Ross Career and Technology Center, Adult Education. It's more than juniors and seniors who are learning things. If you are beyond your high school years and maybe you wanted to learn auto mechanics, maybe you wanted to learn how to be an electrician and you just never got around to it, or a nurse aide or something like that, you can get that start at Pickaway Ross CTC. Health technologies, skilled trades, public safety, and more. Click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com, and it will take you right to their website where you can find out more about their adult education program. Sports next.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to none.
Who drinks Budweiser? You know the type. The people who grind. Those who don't back down. And the ones who don't quit. They say all people are 6 degrees of separation away from each other. But some are just a 6-pack away. The people who share the same spirit, share the same beer. This Bud's for you.
Hi, I'm Dave Pinkerton with Advanced Services Heating and Cooling, your local heating and cooling expert. If you want quality service, quality installation, give Advanced Services a call, 740-773-4499.
It's time to get serious about your lawn. It's time to step up to the best mower brand money can buy. For nearly 4 decades, Skag has been the easy choice for lawn care professionals. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best when it comes to mowing your lawn. There's sure to be a Skag model that's perfect for your yard, big or small. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood. Visit your local Skag dealer today. Skag, simply the best.
At Rathkamp Financial, we act as your advocate in all wealth matters. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust with our customized investment solutions. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
And now, sports.
Well, great postseason run for Ohio State women's basketball, but it came to a close last night against a red-hot Virginia Tech Hokies team, 84-74 the final. Ohio State led by as many as 7 in that game, but I can't remember the little guard's name for the Hokies, but she caught fire.
Georgia
Georgia was her first name.
Or Georgie. Was it Georgia or Georgie?
I think it was Georgia.
And she was hitting them like crazy.
Yeah.
And she had gotten hurt in the first half.
Yeah, she got her bell rung. One of the Ohio State big girls ran over top of her.
I couldn't get over how the game started. I watched her from start to finish, and it was a heavyweight knockout. Mm-hmm. Boom, shot, boom, shot, boom, shot, boom, shot, from three. And 12 of the first 13 shots by both teams went through the bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, they were on a 100-point pace at the end of the first quarter, but by the late third quarter, I noticed this thing really slowed down in tempo.
Because it was 48-45, I believe, at halftime. Virginia Tech had hit a 3-ball just before, again, the kid we were referring to knocked one down. But what a great way for Ohio State to bounce back. They had that 19-0 start, ran into some skids. They played pretty much 500 basketball from that point on. But to get themselves to the point they were last night, just a little bit away from the Final Four.
But a lot of talent. The gal that was the freshman of the year, they were talking about how well she's matured throughout the course of the year. She'll be back. So, yeah, they'll have a great team again next year.
So the final score is 84-74 for Virginia Tech, and then South Carolina took care of Maryland 86-75. So that sets up for the championship game coming up on March 31st. The Final Four. Iowa taking on South Carolina. LSU plays Virginia Tech. And then we'll know who's going to play for a national championship after these two games are played Friday.
Yeah, and their final would be on Sunday. Watch the Ross County Trailblazers take on local celebrities. Now, are you playing or just talking?
I am the MC for the night for all the festivities going on tomorrow night. And there's a load of celebrities who are playing, and it dawned on me last night, this is the first time I will ever see Garen Veris and Lee Osborne on the floor at the same time. I arrived in Chillicothe a year after their basketball careers had ended here in Chillicothe, and they went on to, of course, I saw Lee play for OUC, but never got to see him play with Garen Veris. Never got to see Garen play basketball. Got to see him play football.
Yeah, I saw them together at Chillicothe. Bill Spar took me as his color commentator to Marietta College for a district tournament game.
Yeah,
and I thought these guys are pretty good.
Luke Feeney's going to be on the celebrity side along with a host of others. And
Mike Throne?
Mike Throne is going to be there. He'll be the short guy out there trying to play big.
He said that, Mike. I didn't say that.
But I got to hand it to him, though. He's going to be out there. I know my place. I'm going to be behind a microphone. But the Trailblazers, they've had a fantastic season, and this really is to celebrate them. And I was talking with Courtney Davis, who's been putting this together, and she told me earlier this morning on the phone, she says, our kids are nervous. They're just, because the pressure that's involved in it, and they had a great season. And I told her, I said, just remind them there's no college recruiters who's going to be at this game. And the celebrities are going to have a lot of fun. I'm hearing there's a dizzy bat contest that will be taking place.
Don't ever ask me to do anything like that. No.
So I guess you spin around with the dizzy bat, and instead of running to first base, you get a basketball and try and shoot a shot.
Who'd you say was coaching?
The Chris Hiles and Bob Malone, they are the normal coaches for the Trailblazers, and it will be the legend Gary Kello with a greater legend with him, Coach Alan Blue from the Unioto Shermans.
That ought to be great.
It's going to be a blast, and I'm telling you, if you want to watch a show, just watch Gary Kello and Alan Blue. Yeah. That's going to be worth the admission, right?
I think Alan could probably out-cheer Gary. Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Gary's going to have to watch him do the U thing.
Yeah, really.
You know?
Yeah, that's tomorrow night. What time?
Tomorrow night, doors open at 6 o'clock. There's no admission charge, but they're accepting donations for when you come to the doors. So drop a $5 bill in. That would be fantastic, but they'll have 50-50 raffles and all that kind of stuff. And the sponsors are going to be recognized as well. So it's going to be fun. So make sure you stop in and watch all the activities. They're also going to acknowledge the kids for their winter sports awards. Great. So that will all take place. The action probably won't start till close to 7 o'clock. Yeah. So if you're there by 6:30, you're not going to miss anything.
A lot of high school baseball and softball last night. You can follow all of those scores on our Litter Twitter. But one that we wanted to tell you about tonight, this is going to be a biggie. Two of the top Division II baseball teams, at least projection-wise, in the Southeast District this spring is Unioto and Washington Courthouse. Courthouse represented the Southeast District in the regional tournament last year. A lot of those guys are back. But the thing about both of these clubs, they are deep in pitching, like 2 or 3 starters deep. So this ought to be a good one today out at Unioto for the varsity game at 5 o'clock. Unioto hosting Washington Blue Lions.
We are closing in on opening day for Major League Baseball, and I took a look at the MLB.com yesterday, and I knew that with all the changes and things that we've seen during spring training, this addition of a clock, we had a clock added, 2 years ago for the pitching and everything. I thought it would be important to maybe take a look at some of that stuff today. So if you don't mind, let me do that. There's a pitch timer this year. So you'll see on the right there, bases empty. You've got 15 seconds to throw your pitch. If there's runners on base, you've got 20 seconds. Hitter gets one timeout per plate appearance, so none of this, hey, wait a second, I got a gnat in my eye. The pitch is coming. Must be in the batter's box within 8 seconds left. And I saw this happen to one of the Reds players over the weekend. First time I'd seen that. You've got to be in the box ready to go. So none of this walking around the backstop and anything. Pitchers get 2 disengagements or pickoff attempts or step-offs per batter. Violations are a balk. Limits on pickoff attempts led to 26% increase in stolen base attempts in the minors, and a pitch timer helped reduce the game length by 25 minutes in the minor leagues in 2022, which is where they've tried some of this stuff out. Now, bigger bases, I wasn't aware of this. But because of the bigger base, that's going to cut down your time in stealing a base because you're going to be able to reach faster. So first, second, and third base have been increased from 15 square to 18 square inches. Bigger bases expected to have a positive impact on players' safety as well. Distance reduced from 3 inches from home to first and home to third, reduced from 4.5 inches from first to second and second to third. Bigger bases, they say, reduced injury events near the bases by more than 13% in the minor leagues last year.
Something new.
And the shift. I hated seeing the shift. It's like everybody goes over to one side, lay down a bunt.
Yeah, really.
I'm not paid to bunt.
Yeah.
I want to, and they hit into that so many times. Well, 2 infielders must be positioned on either side of second base when the pitch is released. All 4 infielders must have both feet within the infield when the pitcher is on the rubber. So none of this standing out in the grass and then creeping into the infield. You have to have both your feet in there. What happens if you're not? I don't know. Shift restrictions increased batting average and decreased strikeouts in the minor leagues while giving players more opportunity to show off their athleticism.
This would have completely changed the strategy in the 1976 World Series when Pete Rose was basically in Mickey Rivers' face every time he came to the plate.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
if you get some of these egos out, like Dan pointed out, I'm not paid to hit lay down a bunt, if that's what you need to do. A lot of that stuff wouldn't be necessary.
And if now granted, I know that you are not paid to bunt, but are you saying
I'm bigger than the game?
I'm bigger than the game, or are you saying I don't know how to bunt?
Well, that could. Watching the Reds pitchers over the last 10 years, I'm convinced that's it. But
and I miss the pitchers batting.
If you remember in the 70s during the Big Red Machine era, the Reds games at home did not start till 8:05.
Yeah.
But they were all finished well before 11 o'clock. So what has changed in the last 30 or 40 years that slowed the game down so badly?
Probably
because they didn't need all those rule changes then.
Major League Baseball and all their commercials.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just a possibility. I don't know. Of course, I have to say that just before a commercial break. Thanks, Mike.
Only baseball.
This date in history coming your way in just a moment, and if we can figure something out, we'll have this date in Dan and Mike Radio moments.
Let's
I guess.
talk about our visits to the Red games with the radio.
We can do that, I suppose. All right, coming up, this ain't in history, but first I want to tell you about McDonald's. If you're looking for a place to eat, how about McDonald's? Not only that, if you're looking for a place to work, why not McDonald's?
Why not McDonald's?
Every Wednesday, it is open meeting, open interview time with the managers down in Waverly, over in Greenfield, up in Circleville, or any one of the 4 locations here in Chillicothe. From 2 until 5, all you need to do is just stop in and say, I'm here to apply for work, and I'd like to meet with the manager. Mm-hmm. And they will drop everything they're doing, and they may already be with an interview.
That's true.
Give us a moment, and belly up to a milkshake, and go on over and sit down and get ready for your interview.
Right with you, they'll say. Yeah.
You betcha. You can do so at McDonald's. Now, if you click on any McDonald's ad you see at littermedia.com, if you're looking to apply through the internet, you can do that because it'll take you right to their McHire website. So find out more details at your local McDonald's. McDonald's!
I'm loving it.
All right, this date in history on the way next. But I got to push a button first. Oh, there it is.
Dixie Chopper. Speed when you need it.
Visit your local Dixie Chopper dealer today or visit dixiechopper.com.
This is Big Chillicothe. Horizon's 100% fiber internet service is coming to your area. Call 740-772-8331 or visit horizonconnects.com/Chillicothe to sign up today.
Worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra.
If you got a cleanup chore, you need a dumpster, call Scioto Valley Dumpsters. They're available right now, 740-253-8389. Tell them Dan and Mike sent you, and we'll get you taken care of. All right? Well, I mean, Mike and I won't be driving the truck.
And we won't be hiding in the dumpster when it arrives. Yeah.
We're just here to tell you about Scioto Valley Dumpsters. 740. I just saw you kind of peek a head up out of that orange dumpster. 740-253-8389. It's a higher rate if you want Mike, number 1, to be there for the dumpster.
And if you expect me to load the dumpster, that's a real high rate.
There's a different kind of load he can do. So.
Yeah. 1834. Who says that, you always talk about how this incivility and politics are today. Well, folks, pick up your history books, will you? 1834, President Andrew Jackson is censured by Congress for refusing to turn over documents. Gee whiz, does that sound familiar? Jackson was the first president to suffer this formal disapproval from Congress. During his first term, Jackson decided to dismantle the Bank of the United States and find a friendlier source of funds for his Western expansion plans. He claimed the bank had too many foreign investors, favored the rich over the poor, and resisted lending funds to develop commercial interest in America's Western territories. When the Senate passed legislation in 1831 to renew the bank's charter, Jackson promptly vetoed it. An 1831 meeting with his cabinet generated classified documents regarding Jackson's veto of the bank. But because he would not turn those documents over, Congress censured him on this date in 1834.
The great one, Dick Rout, former history teacher in Chillicothe City School Systems. The first one I ever heard, it said, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Stay the same. Absolutely. Yeah.
Incredible. Reds baseball.
2 days from now, opening day.
No Joey Votto. He's going to start on the injured list. So those of you that are Joey Votto fans, just want to throw that out there. But what Mike was alluding to earlier was our radio trips we used to make down to the ballpark.
Yeah. We had what they called the Super Box, which oftentimes was actually on the press level.
The technical term was the affiliate suite.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it was
a super box to Mike.
When it was in Did you ever go down to Riverfront for those events?
No.
I think they were calling it Super Box then. And they, but because of the deal that I wanted to mention about the being on the press level, there's a major league rule that you cannot have alcohol on press row at a Major League Baseball game.
Or cheer.
Yes.
Or complain.
So one of these boxes, affiliate boxes that they would let, affiliate radio stations come to, I mean, they fed us pizza, hot dogs. I mean, it was fantastic. No alcohol because of that rule, because we were on that press level. Because a lot of times the radio or TV guys were right across the wall from us.
Don Sutton was sitting right to my left during a ball game one time.
Yeah. But Marty or Joe, when Joe was still with us, they would come over like in the middle of the third or fourth and talk to us and say hi.
Joe violated that alcohol.
Probably.
Rule,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, really. I don't know if any of the other...
It was probably more enforced after Joe was no longer...
I don't know if any of the other Major League franchises did that. I'm sure they probably did. But that was always a lot of fun. And but we also had opportunities to go down for what they used to call the businessman special. And that was like a 12:30 game. What do they call it now?
It's a business day special.
Okay. So they still have those early afternoon games, but there were a couple occasions that we didn't go up in the big box. We had tickets and sat down on the third base line, and I had as much fun on those days as any of the whining and dining, so to speak, in the Super Box, although that was pretty sweet. But, we had some good times. I can't think of anything bad that happened to us while we were there.
You didn't make this trip, but Clifford Brown. Clifford was through First Capital
Enterprises, right.
Clifford used to come to the radio station. He would clean up and everything, and he became part of our family. We just loved Cliff. Well, when Cliff was diagnosed with cancer, my friends at Southern Ohio Survivors made it possible for us to take him down to a Reds game. And so he went in one vehicle, I was driving the other vehicle. And when we got to the ballpark, you know how Cliff was. He was like, boy, I just didn't know we were going to make it. I mean, you were flying down. You know, he always went to the extremes with a lot of things. But he had an absolute blast that day. We had a lot of fun with him, too. And one of the greatest memories I'll have of going to Great American Ballpark. And yes, I went to Riverfront Stadium before it was called Synergy Field. And I remember we were going to a ball game back when I was a kid, and we were talking about going down to Riverfront Stadium. And for whatever reason, my uncle was asking me, where are we going? I said, we're going down to River State Frontium.
River State Frontium.
And he says, where did you say again? I said, River State Frontium. And he says, you mean Riverfront Stadium?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. One day I'll be a broadcaster.
Of course, this was not a radio memory, but I'm old enough to remember having gone to Crosley Field,
which I missed out on. I didn't get to do.
And the family went down one night, and my oldest sister Marcia, who's in heaven now, she was with us, and a fella sitting next to her who had already probably had too much to drink. He spilled like a whole cup of beer on her.
Well, that's pricey today.
Yeah. Well, for the rest of the game, as well as the trip home, it smelled like we were sitting next to a brewery. But yeah, it was all unfortunate for her, but we got a big laugh. We got a big laugh.
Once again, Mike always enjoying life at others' expense.
Well, things like that happen to everybody at some point.
Back to my River State Frontium story. We were going down. It wasn't for a baseball game. It was for a Browns-Bengals game, which I later came to find out, because I was in the third grade when I came to find out that Greg Cook was quarterbacking the Bengals at the time when I was down there. Yeah. So I saw him play, didn't know who he was until I came to work here in Chillicothe. But there was a fan that sat behind us from Cleveland. I was rooting for the Browns. My brother Mike was rooting for the Browns. Dad and my sister were rooting for the Bengals. Well, this guy, he was getting sauced, and there was the Browns just weren't performing well. Now, keep in mind, it was a preseason game. There was a moment in time where this guy, I was getting kind of scared because I'd never been around someone who had been inebriated before. And so I looked at Dad, and he says, "Don't worry about him. He's going to be fine." And he had a Browns pennant to start. He ended up with a Bengals pennant, and he's going, "I'm going to stay here. I'm not going back to the lake. Why would I go?" I'll remember that like it was yesterday.
Wow. I think it was one time we were at an afternoon game at Crosley Field. They were playing the Cubs. Well, at that time, and I think they do to some extent, the Cubs fans travel.
Oh, they still do, yeah.
Well, they had an outfit, a group at that time. You know, the Reds had the Rosy Reds group. Well, the Chicago Cubs had what was called the Bleacher Bums, and they all wore yellow hard hats. I thought there was like 5,000 of these guys in Crosley Field one day. And after the game, it was like they were all in unison marching down the street, because at that time you could take the train.
Yeah.
In and out, because the terminal was right just down the street from Crosley Field. So I thought, wow, those are some rabid fans. But they were a lot of fun to listen to.
And they do still travel, because the last Reds-Cubs game I went to, there were more Cubs fans there than Reds fans. Yeah. And that was kind of tough to swallow. And I'm going to be honest, I just hate going down when the Cubs are in town, because it's just they're happy for them. They've had some good seasons of late, but for a long time they were the doormats. You know, now the Reds are the doormats, and it's the reversal of roles. But my brother and I went down for a Browns-Bengals game, and this was where the Browns beat the Bengals this particular day, and I had kind of the other side of the story. I was seeing Browns fans high-fiving each other afterwards outside the stadium on their way back to their cars. You see that from the Cubs fans when they're there when they beat the Reds.
Right.
You know, so it's I can see both sides of the story, but it's much more fun when your team wins.
Yeah.
It really is.
Findlay Market Day Parade will get things started in Cincinnati Thursday afternoon, and then the ball game's at about 4:10.
Bronson Arroyo and, the other one, I can't think of the name right now, but they're the Grand Marshals.
Grand Marshals. I knew Bronson, but I didn't know who the other one was.
That's going to dog me. It'll come to me as soon as we're done with the show.
Everybody is red hot for opening day. And
because everybody's 0-0.
If you keep winning, you stay red hot. When they start losing, it's like, what did the Reds do this week? I haven't even seen them. So hopefully it's a good year for the Reds.
Amen.
And I'm sorry for you Guardian fans. Hopefully a good year for you too.
Absolutely. And the Reds and Guardians made a trade over the weekend. So there's a guy who didn't get to be a Red very long, and now he's a Guardian, and a Guardian who was a Guardian is now with the Reds.
You went from contender to pretender,
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right, that's it for the show today. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We're back again here tomorrow with another edition of Litter Media Live. Thanks for watching.